So the question this morning is this: do we operate in the just enough or the more than enough? Right? Do we give just enough? Do we love just enough? Do we listen just enough? Do we forgive just enough? Do we operate in the just enough, or do we operate in the more than enough? More than enough love, more than enough giving, more than enough patience. Do we operate in the just enough, or do we operate in the more than enough? And the other part of that is this: the blessings that we give to others, okay, do those blessings come with leftovers, or is it just enough? Let's talk about it. But before we get into that, let everybody know that they can come to Levon Says in the Morning to get their motivating and positive content. You dig? Because here we strive to love you, uplift you, right? To motivate you, to enlighten you, to laugh with you, and to encourage you, right? To inspire you. That's our purpose on this channel. So please share this channel with everyone you know, right? Hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also hit that bell notification so you're always notified whenever I upload content. And you already know what day it is, huh? Let me hear you one time. Just one time for your mind. It's hump day! Yeah, you know what it is, man. We halfway through the week. All the rest of the week is downhill. You dig? Now let's talk about this. So what we're talking about this morning is fragments. You dig? Fragments of the blessing. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Say someone gives you some money for dinner, right? Now, the money they give you for dinner is the blessing. You take that money and you go have dinner. The dinner is the result of the blessing, right? But depending on how much money they gave you will depend on if there's fragments of the blessing. What I mean by that? Okay, I'll give you an example. If I give you $25 and say, here's some money to go have some dinner, right? Depending on what kind of dinner you get, and $25 is, it's not a whole lot, but you can go get dinner on that $25 and you can get just enough, or you can get more than enough, depending on where you go, right? So that blessing can be just enough, or it can come with fragments. You dig? Because the leftovers, the more than enough, the leftovers that you take, right? That's fragments of the blessing. Fragments of the dinner, which is the byproduct. And the money was the blessing. So you have, if I give you $50, you have a family of 3, 4, a wife and 2 kids. I say, here, man, it's $50. Let's go have some dinner on me, right? Depending on where you go, it'll be just enough, or it can be more than enough. And then there be fragments left over from the blessing. So, when we look at how we operate, whether we operate in the just enough or the more than enough, right? That matters in our life, because how we move, how we operate, how we think, how we talk, you know what I'm saying? How we love others and bless others and do for others and so forth. It matters how we move, right? I don't know about you, but I don't want to move in the just enough. I don't want to move in, just having enough to do this and just having enough to do that. Receiving just enough to be able to take care of this or take care of that. No. I want to operate in the abundance, in the more than enough. I want to think in the more than enough. I want to think that not only am I more than enough? But I think that what I do, what I say, the effort that I put in, I don't put in a just enough effort. I put in a more than enough effort, right? Because I believe in planning for a rainy day. I believe in saving when the getting is good, right? Not trying to save when it's bad, it's scrappy, it's getting scarce. No. I believe in saving when the getting is good. So therefore, you're not blindsided when the blind side happens. If that makes sense. You dig? You're prepared, right? You're putting in the 6 P's while things are good. So let's talk about these fragments of the blessing, right? And we're going to be talking about the scripture this morning, and it's coming out of John 6:12, and this is what it says. When they were filled, he said to his disciples, gather up the fragments that remain, that none be lost. You dig? Let's talk about it. So this is why I said we want to operate in the more than enough, right? And not the just enough. Because the just enough does that. Just enough. But we want to be the type of people that operate in the abundance. We want to give abundantly. We want to love abundantly. You know what I'm saying? We want to teach abundantly and receive abundantly, right? So let's operate in the abundance in everything we do. I mean, he did say they were filled. He didn't say they were still hungry or some of them wasn't quite full. He says when they were filled, that means they were satisfied. That means it was plenty. It was times of plenty. It was at that moment, it was in times of plenty, right? So same with us, right? When we're filled, when we're satisfied, when the times are good, and when it's plenteous, right? That's when it's talking about being filled. That's when we are to, save. That's when we are to recognize that this is a bountiful blessing. That's when we ought to be blessing others and sharing, the blessing with others, because we have so much. We have more than enough that we have enough to give to someone else. We have enough to share and not expect anything back because we walk in the abundance, in the more than enough. And if we're operating in the more than enough, then our loving won't leave people still hungry or unsatisfied. Our giving won't leave people still wanting and in lack, right? Our teaching and instructing won't leave people still in a state of confusion. They'll be satisfied. And there are reasons for that, right? We want to operate in the abundance to show others that this is how God loves us. He loves us abundantly. So in return, we show that same abundance, right? We want to also teach folks that not just the overflow, right? But also how to save in times of abundance. You dig? How to save. You know what I'm saying? Just when times are good doesn't mean that you just go ham and you just go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we live life to the fullest, but we also know how to live life to the fullest and save when it's abundant. You know what I'm saying? We don't wait to the last minute. We don't wait until we get blindsided and try to react. We already can react. We already have provision set aside because we have learned to, in the abundance, set something aside. We've learned to save. You dig? And it also teaches folks that, listen, everyone has needs. Everyone is not always on the up. Sometimes we're on the down. And those time periods when we're on the down, that's when we need the abundance of those that are on the up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when folks are down, they just need a hug. They're dealing with depression. They're dealing with the loss in a family, or they're dealing with, a loved one, or whatever they be dealing with, and they're down, their confidence is down, and you can tell something is going on. They're not the normal person that they used to be. Sometimes that's what they need. And if you know that you operate in the abundance, give that kind word, give that hug, give that encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Give that strength that they need. That's our job, because we want to operate in the more than enough. We want to operate in the abundance. And how you do that is that you give abundantly. You give of your time and your talent and your treasure. You know what I'm saying? You give. You don't even think in the mediocre. You don't even think in I'm going to give them just enough. How much you need? Okay, let me give you just enough. No, I'm going to give you more than enough. You dig? How much time you said it's going to take? Okay, I'm going to set aside not just enough of the block of time, but I'm going to set aside more than enough time, because there's unforeseen things, scheduling changes, conflict. I'm going to make sure I have more than enough time. I got to be there at what time? I got to get on the road at what time? You see what I'm saying? We need to start thinking in the abundance, in the more than enough, and the not just enough. In this story, in John, that's what Jesus was trying to demonstrate to the people. Listen, I operate in the abundance, in the more than enough, right? So feed the people. Well, Jesus, we only got, 5 loaves and 2 fish, and man, there's 5,000 people out there, plus women and children. Feed the people. It's more than enough. That was Jesus's mentality. That's what radiated from him. That's what he knew. I am more than enough, right? I'm the blessing, and the blessing is more than enough. It's not just enough, right? It's more than enough. Feed them people. And then after that, he told the disciples, and gather up what remains. Why? So none will be lost, right? So not only am I more than enough and I operate in the abundance, so therefore there's always going to be fragments left over, because I operate in the more than enough. What I give is more than enough. How I love is more than enough. You know what I'm saying? The things I do is more than enough. How I listen is more than enough. You may call it going over the top, but I call it more than enough, because you never know what's going to happen. You know how grandma used to, she used to keep stuff in her purse. You be asking grandma, and some kind of way she'd pull it out of her purse, but it was always more than enough. It was never just, here, well, baby, this is all I got. Grandma, can I have some gum? It's just, she never put out one little stick and gave it to you. Grandma pull out a whole pack. You dig? She always had more than enough, right? No matter what it was. When we was, coming over and it was unexpected, we didn't call. You know what I'm saying? It just, I would show up with my family, and some kind of way, grandma would get in there and she would cook something, and it would always be left over. That's what I'm talking. She'd always be, here, baby, take some home. Take some home with you for you and your family. Is the way we operate like that? Do we operate in the more than enough? Because Jesus operates in the more than enough. We see it right here in this story. The little boy had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And when that lunch met with the blessing, it became more than enough to where there was fragments left over. So check it out. This is just another thing, just to show that when we give unto the Lord, when the Lord have need of something from us, our time, our talent, our treasure, our services in some kind of way, when the Lord has need of us, when we offer ourselves unto God, right? When we offer ourselves unto the Lord, when we meet up with the more than enough, then what it is that he has need of us becomes more than enough. And there's always an abundance left over. There's always fragments left over when we become more than enough. So let's operate and give in the more than enough, right? Let's constantly keep in contact with the source, which is Christ, right? Let's keep close contact with Yeshua so we can always operate in the more than enough. And it never be said that, well, yeah, they gave just enough. Whew, it was just enough. I mean, that's always a blessing when God comes through, right? And we say, whoo, God, that was just in time. You know what I'm saying? But from God's perspective, oh, it was plenty of time, because he doesn't operate in the realms of time. It's always more than enough from him. And if he is in us and lives in us and makes his abode in us, then everything we do should be more than enough. You dig? Be blessed on today, man. I hope this message bless you. I just want to come on real quick on this hump day. Yeah, you know what it is, man. And just bless y'all with this message, you dig? That we are operating, we are loving, we are talking, we are listening, we are giving, we are praying, we are fasting, you dig? We are studying, we are walking and talking and exuberating more than enough. Be blessed on today. Your man Levon, I'm out. Remember, Lamella E, love, uplift, motivate, inspire, learn, laugh, encourage, and enlighten. LamellaE.com. Go on the website and check out the merch. You dig? Remember, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and tell all your family and friends. Hit that bell so you're always reminded whenever we upload videos on this channel. Your man Levon, I'm out.